Friends, good morning. It's Monday morning. I'm still sounding a little rough, but we're getting better. Oh my gosh, you guys. The emotional intensity of coming out of an eclipse portal and having like a lot of water, I don't know, on the board. I was going to say on the table. I decided I would check it. I really didn't, I have some private bookings and I had to check in with you guys. I was like, maybe we can just tap in and share some cards and chit chat and maybe, we're just always holding space for each other here. Thanks for being here. Thanks if you're new here. I will quickly tell you I don't hold this space for monetization. I have a practice of reading birth charts and doing tarot readings. Been doing that for a long time, and I create ritual tools and candles and oils and all the magics. But yeah, here we're just a soul family. Wow, I haven't really talked that much this morning. I haven't noticed how raspy I'm sounding. I was hearing people, the emotions. It's a really emotional. I don't know. It's just for me. How are you feeling? Check in. I know it's really been intense. And so oftentimes when we arrive to the harvest and the energy of Libra season and we kind of go through that gateway, we find ourselves balancing maybe what hasn't been in balance. And I think sometimes when we go through very intense times, and on top of the normal intensity of like any, harvest season, harvest moon, post eclipse in this energy, right? There's going to be different emotional intensities, right? But on the backs of all the energetics and the astrology and everything that we have going on, I feel called to get the big boss out here today. She's a big boss. There's already like such a backdrop of, Pluto and Aquarius is a huge backdrop. It just is. Disclosure and exposure is the name of the game. The redistribution of energetics and power. Re-understanding who is my community, who is my group, who and how do I connect with people I do or do not want to commune with anymore. So there's already like so much going on to build and carry us into the age of Aquarius, right? So perhaps it's interesting to consider, right? When we think about Libra season is like, what do we think about? Where do we want to go? You know what? Let's start with the Mabon Oracle, the Seasons of the Witch Mabon Oracle, just to tap in and check the vibes and the energy. When we are trying to, I guess you would say in the Libra season, we balance what is in balance, what is out of balance, and what is opposing energy might look different for all of us, right? Some people may say, I haven't really found myself being super emotional. Maybe for me personally, I'm trying to become more grounded. I don't know. I'm just saying, and it can be just the notes of deeper self-awareness. We kind of talked yesterday about different factors that we have going on in the collective energy. And when we go into emotional intensity and deepening of self-awareness, and these are necessary things to complete this year, this cycle, this harvest season, it's going to be intense. I think it's good, though. I think it's really good. I don't think it's a time, you guys. I don't think it's really a time to depress and repress. Especially Libra season, not only is balance and harmony, what's in balance, what's out of balance. It can be very karmic, and that's not always negative. It's just reaping what you've sown, right? But we're thinking about how we relate to ourselves, which then sets the tone for how we relate to others. So definitely just emotional intensity. I feel that this harvest season can be so big, so huge in each leg of it, whether you think of it in terms of September, or should we say August, September, October, or maybe we're thinking of like Lammas, Mabon, Samhain, right? Depends on what you practice and what you observe. You might be thinking of, we say Virgo season, Libra season, Scorpio season, right? And those all have their own undertones. But it's the more we deepen our self-awareness, the more we may have some of those feelings coming forth. It's light and dark. The darker of the days will now begin to slowly but surely balance out the light. Masculine and feminine, right? Yin and yang. Okay, we understand that when we're staying present and we're seeking alignment and we're always trying to deepen our emotional self-awareness, we're going to have those moments, So I said, I feel called to hang on to this. I felt like it was trying to jump straight out of my hands. Sometimes I'll sort the cards out like this in piles. I feel like it kind of clears the air. It shakes out. It removes stagnant energy. That's just a personal little thing I like to do. Oftentimes I do it before I start a reading for someone. But yeah, this card was all about hopping out of my hand. I really just wanted to pop in and just share some energy with you guys, say, how are you doing? Welcome into the week. We're going to wrap up September. Libra season will continue to carry us into October. And this week we're going to be working our way. I'm hearing, working my way back to you, babe. What is it? Dun-dun-dun, with a burning dun-dun. What do they say? I let it slip away. I really don't know I'm just hearing the dun 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 dun. Maybe that song. Look at Witches Gathering. Very very autumnal, very like you're hosting people at a table. Everyone is bringing forth the gifts, of their harvest. Beautiful card to have come out. There's these overwhelming, it's so hard. You sit down with your friends or you're having a chat or catching up with someone. Excuse me. The Dream Song Oracle is calling me too, so I'm going to go ahead and pull her out. So gorgeous. You try to articulate to someone, right? Let me tell you about these signs and synchronicities that have been coming up, and you're like this, and this. But suffice it to say, it's always hard to explain every little breadcrumb, every little feather, every little number. Friend, yep, okay. Spirit wants us to get an angel number oracle too. But I think this is one I'm going to shuffle and draw from. What was I going to say? Oh, this whole mini synchronistic messages, readings. I was reading something in a book and then this commercial popped up or so-and-so said something to me. You know what I'm talking about? That's the vibe. Is this energy of come back and be present in this moment. Spirit, what is one? Help me remember one. I have one. You know how your phone, whatever carriers, whatever you got, whoever you use, right? Your phone will give you your memories. And I was saying to someone, I was like, when I look at this memory of her, it reminds me of how I think back of moments where I wish I would have been more present. And we started having this little side conversation about being present. You know what I'm saying? And just, you don't, okay, I'm seeing many different things Spirit is showing me, right? Let me go ahead and set that our intention here in this space, of course, when I say my spirit guides and spirit, my higher self, over here, we always set the intention and we hold the sacred space to just welcome in our angels, our team, our spirit guides, us with our higher selves, our ancestors, both galactic and earthbound, all of the energies that we work with here, all of the spiritual guidance, right? The activations and the messages are set with the intention of serving the highest and best good and harming none. Okay. So it is, just to clear that. But there's something here, and Spirit is kind of showing me the memes or the quotes you'll read, and it'll be like, don't forget, there's nights like you laid awake and you thought of an image or a feeling or a place or a time or a job, whatever it was that you were wanting, which essentially you're calling to yourself. A future timeline is showing you, but you're also calling to yourself. Isn't that wild how it works? Yeah, because, unless we're in this third dimensional earth school in a certain realm, so to speak, time isn't real. And so it's very interesting how you can toy with those ideas. However, the whole point is look what you have now. Remember 5 years ago? Okay, and this interesting, we're talking about this. I think a lot of the emotional moments that came up were just me alchemizing the understanding of like things that I had just been through. You know what I'm saying? You'll be a lot of alchemical work sometimes is you'll release a pocket of emotion. It makes me think of like blowing a bubble. You really crystallize a certain level of awareness and it transforms you. And then that becomes an emotional moment because you're like, oh, and a lot of things kind of come together. I think sometimes because we're human and there is a finite energy to our experience, we feel regret and grief. And that's natural and we can kind of process those. But I think there's something here about continuing to come back to the present, to stay rooted in the present. It's just all a journey. It's just all a journey in whatever direction it goes. It is amazing though to really just sit there and we've all done that. Child, I was like, dang, the top of my box is dusty. We've all sat and thought to ourselves these things and we processed emotions and that's good for us to do that. It's important because Spirit wants me to explain when you're doing that, that is alchemical work. And when you take those elements, I don't know why Spirit, probably because a lot of us bake in this season or will be baking more and more. You bake a cake, but you had to put all the ingredients together, but you transformed them all into something completely different. And not only did you do that, you put your energy to it, your love, your perspective, maybe some creative choices or whatever. And then someone else ingested that and it became a part of them. Isn't that wild? Or when you make something, for example, I make candles for people. And to think that someone burns a candle and maybe cries over an event or has a crazy powerful ritual with their own spirit team and my creative inspiration and everything that I did in that candle, it's lit. It's literally active in their spiritual practice. It just boggles my mind sometimes. But when we come back to the present, and it is okay to feel the intensity of these emotions. Remember, Spirit is going to keep reminding us of that that compassionate detachment. Remember though, don't let that take you back and stick you. Remember we were saying spiritual me white knuckling again. Don't white knuckle the past though. Understand the journey that needed to be experienced so you could arrive at a certain level of alignment. There's a refinement process, Libra, ruled by Venus, nice things, not just nice things. Something of quality requires a lot of refinement. And know and understand, it's just like I'm thinking of these flowers growing, right? The flowers growing out of her head, like a flower growing and all the different things that had to happen for the flower to blossom. And then even all the things, for example, in my candles and my oils and whatever my creations may be, or even a tea, right? Then the dried element is still going to go forth. We could, of course, think of many different things when we think of alchemy. But the thing is that when you're now in the nowness in the present moment of being, when you alchemize those things, when you crystallize those things, those contribute back to the evolution of the collective consciousness. And so it's really powerful. Perhaps that's part of also balance and harmony, what we take, what we give, etc., through ourselves, through energy, through people and connections. Very Libran, right? Okay. What do we have? Unfurl the wings of forgiveness. That's really beautiful. This makes me think of, I was listening to one of my favorite readers on a walk this morning, and she's going about her business, sitting outside doing this gorgeous reading, right? And I love her to pieces. She's so great. And she's explaining, much like myself, oh shit, I'm sorry, you guys, I'll have to share it with you. I got a bird's nest on my walk. And I took a picture because I love to document multiple times, almost every single year without fail. I feel like the universe gives me certain gifts Gaia, of course, I honor her deeply in my path, and we are connected in the work that I do in other ways, right? In signs and synchronicities. But dude, I got a bird's nest, and we have the bird all in the moths. Of course, I love moths. I have a tattoo. But if you know me, like moths always come to me. I have like moth wings and dragonfly wings and all the things, but interesting synchronicity that just came into mind, and not the beautiful full moon on this card too, you guys. Look, we're going to be working up to that Aries full moon. I think it's Aries, right? The full moon makes me think of mirrors too, and that makes me think of Libra and emotional bonds, connections, platonic partnerships, creative endeavors, best friends, soulmates, familial, all kinds of emotional bonds and soul contracts, right? And the mirroring that goes on, whether it's negative or positive, there can be healthy growing together in the way that we mirror. Interesting. Also makes me think about the full moon. Wow, how fascinating. But in her video, what was so cute, she was explaining that she gives a lot of seeds to the birds. And even though I live in a townhouse, I've lived in many different places, but right, this is the season that we're in. I still go out in my trees because it's an offering for me of respect to like the earth and the birds and feathers. Me and feathers have a thing. And so I love to take care of my birds. I also grew up with a grandfather who was always taking care of all the animals, but he had a special fondness for birds and hummingbirds, and we always have feeders. I hang feeders everywhere. And I'll even go out and like put stuff in the trees. Yeah, you know what? I'm that lady. Fully I am. What is that talking about? Like if you see me out in the trees, giving offerings to the birds, just mind your business. Okay, that's me fully. Or whatever water incantation or decanter of water, I'm doing something out there. But she was explaining all these birds kept flying behind her and landing. She's like, oh, I love this cardinal and I love this robin. It was the cutest thing. And she was explaining that she's in a more like tropical state near the ocean. So she was saying like, it was like a wild parakeet or some kind of wild tropical bird. And she was like, oh yeah, they're all around here. And it was just like this, like a little bird thing going on behind her. She's reading cards. It was very like, fairy tale princess giving. It was so nice, but so interesting to have these synchronicities now that I think back. Spirit is chuckling and my guides are saying, well, if you weren't in the present moment, that's the thing about it. You don't see those little tiny breadcrumbs. You don't see what many people love to call glimmers, and I love that for us. Let's read Witch's Gathering from the Beautiful Seasons of the Witch. We love that oracle over here. We got every edition, okay? 42. Probably if you hang around long enough, you're going to see cards from all of them, so. Wait, I don't think this is. Here we go. Witch's Gathering, loyalty, faith, friendship, cooperation. Gather in power, come together in grace. Unity and rising, and all will be embraced. Your higher self chose this card because it is a good omen of friendship and renewed connection. This is a positive sign for you if you're seeking to reconnect with a lost friend or a lover. Take steps to reach out as your reunion will result in joyful and positive experience. Witch's Gathering is also a great sign if you're seeking a new relationship, intimate or platonic. Excuse me. I'm also seeing stuff like people who connect to collaborate, or people who want to, it's like harvest season, Libra season, maybe you have apples and I have pumpkins and we're going to do this feature spotlight and we're going to showcase each other, and people love apples and pumpkins, or maybe you collaborate and it's like shared resources. Again, balance and harmony. That's interesting. That's coming through. I'm also getting something like that. So it doesn't have to be romantic. It doesn't have to be platonic. It can be like, oh my gosh, I worked with her last year and we did this candle collab and she made the gemstone bracelets and or something. You know what I'm saying? This could just be a renewed connection. Maybe there's a reason you come back together and there was a misunderstanding and you practice forgiveness and then boom, you both kind of create something together. Or it could be platonic friendship, whatever the case may be, right? Take it as you will. Because over here, I will always tell you that Your intuition is going to be the highest and best teacher and guide for you. You are your own guru, okay? I love you so much. We're not in the age of Pisces anymore. We're in the age of Aquarius. So I love when we know how to use discernment and wisdom and messages, and we take what resonates and we leave the rest, right? Okay, just as a sidebar, let's go back. Witches gathering is also a great sign if you're seeking new relationships, either intimate or platonic. There are people who are just your kind of people, and you will likely go on to build rewarding, loyal, and long-lasting relationships with any new people entering your life at this time. Seek people who share your values and interests. You may be surprised to find there are many people who understand you on a soul deep level, who have been looking for someone just like you to occupy room in their lives. This card also brings an important message. Relationships are not to be taken lightly, and they require care and attention. They're the biggest form of alchemy, too. The biggest form, and this is my personal opinion, but here you are with me, honey, at my table. So, I'm going to give you my 2 cents. We all have times when, and I'm not going to say romantic, although romantic, like a long-term partnership, is going to be the biggest alchemist, because you really have to sit and go through a lot together. There's a lot of patience. There's a lot of sacrifice. But long-term soulmate connections can often be platonic. Or let's say you've been at the same job for 10, 15 years. There's a lot of balance. There's a lot of listening. But, at jobs and stuff like this, we can walk away. That's why familial connections and long-term partnerships that are romantic or marriages or things of this nature, they're going to be huge alchemists, huge portals for transformation, huge times to grow, right? So I'll always champion that, because when things are outside of you, how do we say? I'm looking for a nice way to say it, but I'm going to be real with you over here. It's very Aquarian, and we don't like to mince our words. If we are only interacting with ourselves all the time and doing what only makes us feel comfortable, that's not going to be growth. We know that the body is not designed to grow that way. Things in nature are not designed to grow that way. So very interesting to sit and consider. And this is a very Libran thing to be talking about, But you will have to be with yourself and ask yourself questions about your intimate relationships, right? It's important to make time for people who are most important to you, because they need your love and support just as much as you need theirs, and maybe even more. In these times right now, I wouldn't hesitate to say, I'm sure they need it more. This card guides you to say yes to social invitations. Look, I'm going to be real with you, though. It says as many as possible. You have to use your own intuition now. I think there's also a limit to that, the shadow Libra energy and Libra season. I don't know. Sometimes it can be a little bit too much. I don't know that it's healthy to be saying yes to everything as possible. So take that as you will. Okay, I know that's not for me. There are people who are very eager to meet you, and you never even know. A party, a night out. It says a night at the bar, but I personally don't drink. Love and light. You do as you will. A night out, right? Or putting your resume out, or actually answering the phone call because this company keeps trying to get in touch with you. Maybe it's like a recruiter. Maybe it's, you know what I'm saying? A friend invites you to an event they're hosting. Oh my gosh, I know, let's say, for example, I know you create candles. Girl, bring your candles out. They've invited you twice, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to go. And then it ends up being great, and you make these connections. Maybe you meet someone, or maybe you make a collaborative, creative connection. Who knows, right? All of this, I think, would be encompassed here. You never know who you meet, a friend, a connection, right? A conversation, what might come of that to change your life. And my goodness gracious, we are in a 9-year. What was the 27th? We went past our final 999 portal, because 2 + 7 = 9. So we're in quite a portal here, still in Libra season. The 999 energy is very resonant. It's a great time to make a connection that could open doors that will change your life, right? It's even more critical for new relationships that are fragile. It's just cracking me up that we are coming right into the week, and we are just diving right in, true Libra fashion, talking about relationships. You can't make it up, right? It's even more critical for new relationships that are fragile and just beginning to take shape. If you're feeling vulnerable, it's safe to say others might be feeling something similar, right? Making time and doing your best confirms your desires to have others around and will go a long way in showing how much you care. Yeah, so it's nice to just show up. You know what I mean? And give what you feel called to give. And that's so important. I think a lot of us will, again, staying in the present moment. It's a tearing back to the past. If you say, how do we say, okay, Spirit is giving me this example. My higher self is saying, like, well, I've been in so many scenarios where I gave this or that, or I acted like this. Okay, but was that you? Is that your true heart? Okay. Was it your highest and best good intentions? Yeah. Okay. Well, what other stuff did with that energy that you gave out into the universe from a beautiful place in your heart? That says a lot of shit about them and really nothing about you. And what happens is what's beautiful, and this is along the lines of the Justice card and karma and all the Saturn and all the stuff we've been talking about. Guess what? Maybe someone need to hear this message today. I know I need to hear it sometimes. Don't be in regret about how you gave yourself to any emotional bond, any soul contract, any connection, any collaborative, any creative, any job, any place where you connected and gave of yourself to people. Don't be in regret, because what happens is this beautiful thing where the universe will see what they're going to do with it. And then guess what? That'll be their karma. And then guess what? Whatever belongs to you, whatever is owed to you, whatever is your destiny and soul purpose, is going to come back to you. And sometimes the universe will do this very interesting karmic / dharmic thing where it'll say, man, we're checking receipts here, and so many people have taken out credit on her good energy. Looks like she's owed about threefold. And then a lot of times you'll hit these cycles in life, and you'll just get all that back in different forms of abundant blessings. And you have to understand that if at any point you allow someone to dictate that you behave down to their level, you're going to put yourself in the same karmic type seats that they're in. It's not going to be in a good way. Also, I want you to understand, Spirit is showing something here about, excuse me, what is it? I don't know, a phrase is coming out like, you're taking food out of your own mouth or something. Don't do that. How is it that they're showing me? It's like a form of energetic vampirism if they get you to be going low with them. I think it's a really good thing to remember, because there's a lot of narratives out there right now where it's like, look, I can only give my opinion. You can do with it what you will. Like, oh, I'm in my villain era. And I'm not talking about, oh, you're in your villain era? Yeah, I'm setting boundaries. That's not the villain era. Or like, yeah, I'm doing what's right for me. And yeah, that's not being a villain. I'm talking about, I'll go wrong for wrong with you. That's not good. Let's not do that. This is kind of like a shadow energy coming out. So I don't want to tarry too long, because I don't like to stay on energy and give it space at my table. But it's just something to be mindful of. I do look forward to the Aries full moon, though, because I think it's going to be really powerful, really courageous. It's going to be lighting like this. I keep seeing it as like lighting this huge bonfire, and it's like whoosh, and it burns out and it clears out. So I love that energy. I don't want to bring any funkiness. We're going to continue, like I've been saying, to be on our energetic spiritual hygiene and all those good things, moving our bodies, opening our windows, whatever practice we do for spiritual cleansing, sound baths, spraying things, smudging things, taking our spiritual salt baths, wearing our oils, meditating, chanting, sound bowls. There's so many different options, beautiful options to have that good spiritual hygiene, okay? So we're going to keep on holding that down over here. But you get where I'm going with that. I know you do. Love and light. I know you do, okay? Because Spirit is showing me something. It's like, oh, wow, it's the last book. I'm sorry, it's the last card of the book. It's like the end. I'm seeing someone close a book like, well, that chapter's done. Perhaps that evokes some of the grief and some of the emotions, because we're realizing that it is time. A lot of things are going to come to an end, which is beautiful, because so many things will have space to begin. But sometimes we're emotional because we're just reflecting. It's okay. That's human. That's kind of why I started this whole video, because I was like, woo, the last couple of days have been emotionally intense. I need to check in with my family. Let's get some good vibes out here. Let's hold hands and hug each other and be like, we gonna get through it, okay? Let's read Unfurl the Wings of Forgiveness. Creatures of the air understand you need two wings to fly. Soaring through life's turbulent skies requires the wing of accountability and the wing of compassion. Healing power is found between the opposing forces of the two. Do you need to hold yourself or someone else accountable right now? What needs to be called out, owned, embodied? Do you need to forgive yourself or another right now? Cultivate empathy. There's that yin and yang. There's that balance and harmony. It's very interesting. It's just going to continue to come up. It also gives kind of to that how we were talking about mirrors. The full moon is making me think about mirrors. Give yourself or another the benefit of a doubt. Compassion keeps your heart receptive. Accountability keeps you fierce, protected, and boundaried. Engage in both, and your psyche will soar uninhibited. Excuse me. Very beautiful. Let's see. Excuse me, you guys. I'm so sorry. It's getting a lot better. Let's see if there's any tarot that Spirit would like us to see, that our ancestors and team would like us to see. Spirit, are there any messages, anything else you want to add, anything else that we need to see or hear from the tarot deck? Hold on, Spirit. I'm sorry. I'm not complaining, but like, that's a lot of cards. We're going to take what's off the top. Literally, though, let me just show you how many cards came out. Like, it's like 7 cards. Y'all, love and light. Spirit, that's a lot. But the card that was on the top, I'm shuffling from the Meta Muse Tarot, by the way. I got mine off Etsy, but I'm going to tell you, this is probably one of my all-time favorite decks that I've gotten a good while. Okay. So 8 of Pentacles. This could actually be a confirmation of like work collaboration we were kind of talking about. 8 of Pentacles, let me just tell you, you know, I love fellow readers. I love energetic channelers, tarot people. I follow the people and love them, and kind of, I like to hear what is the collective tapped into. I will say I'm very picky about who I listen to now. You know, I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. Sometimes I click just out of curiosity. I'm like, immediately no, because if the vibe isn't right. There's something in the 8 of Pentacles that's been out in the collective a lot. I'm telling you, even in one-on-ones, even in my own, it's been out a lot. So perhaps people are trying to change careers. Perhaps you've been working on 8 of Pentacles it doesn't have to be work, although it is that oftentimes, but it's mastery. I had a teacher once that called this like the Mirakai, the Mirakesh, and I never forgot that, like what you pour your soul into. I like to remind people that our pentacles are our energy. Money is just a currency exchange for your time, your focus, your attention, your physical presence, and what is its value, right? So ultimately, it's just it's like the earth signs. It's an earth manifestation of your mastery, your soul essence, your craftsmanship. Maybe you've been mastering something. Honey, look, I know, right? Virgo year. Maybe the health is the abundant reward. Maybe health is wealth for you. Perhaps you made a career change and you're getting a call back today on something's big as far as work, collaboration, but it can be creative projects, you know? In the process, it's like, I know that I show up and I've been really determined. I've been really determined and pouring my soul into something every single day. I know that it's going to return to me in kind. You know, maybe you've been studying, maybe working hard to complete some kind of certification or a degree. You're very determined to put your soul, your energy, your time, and your patience, and you show up and you've been disciplined and you want to evolve the soul purpose. Or this can even be like with Witches Gathering and like forgiveness and talking about balance and harmony and different things, relationships, mirrors. This can be like working really hard to repair a relationship and getting a lot of abundant fruitfulness from that. This can be pouring yourself into maybe a friend group or a soul family. But the more you master, ultimately you're always mastering yourself, right? Anything you do is a journey in like continuing to improve yourself the next day, whether it's your health, whether it's your job, whether it's your focus in your daily routine, your spirituality, wherever you're deciding to discipline yourself in and work really hard on, right? It's going to look different for all of us across the board. But Eight of Pentacles is definitely saying you're mastering something that's going to pay off, or it can be an encouragement to continue mastering something, and maybe connecting with a group of people will help you in that mastery, and it'll bring you joy along with it, right? The child, not me shuffling with the book and the Lord. Shuffling with the book. I don't know, like moving something, right, to the next level. There's something here too about just showing up to do it, okay? And that kind of came through different messages in each card. Just show up to do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. Continuously showing up. You'd be surprised where your journey and your soul purpose and your alignment with people or connections or opportunities makes me think of how I've been seeing the Three of Wands like a lot in readings. You know, Spirit saying a ship is coming in. But it's not always about, we get a little dogmatic, and that's dying out with the age of Pisces, okay? The age of Aquarius is going to be very different. It's not a dogmatic, you know, obsession like you're substituting something in the place of your own authentic, like, being, okay? It's not that. It's not, I'm going to fledge myself and whip myself, and I'll do it again next time, and I'll do it because this is all I have, or what will everyone think? No. We need to go back to our traumas and our root work and healing if that's the case. We want an energy like Eight of Pentacles, gathering with people, sharing, showing up, divine harmony, balanced alignment, stuff like that, right? We want it to be from a joyful place, from a place where we understand that perfect does not exist. And you're enough. But the reason that you're doing something is because you love it, or you show up for the people because you care. You have a lot of pride about that because it's related to your soul purpose, or it makes your heart happy, or it's art, or it's maybe, you know, your journey of service to a community or a collective, you know. Okay, beautiful card to come out. I do love that. Virgo energy on the card coming out there. As we were just talking about, we're still in the potent 999 energy. We had our 999 portal, and then we had our 927-9, which is 999 portal. So all the way up to the end of September, we are still thick in those portals. Y'all, I'm so sorry. My watch is blowing up with notifications, child. Okay. Let's get an angel number for us, and then we will close this. I feel better having tapped into you, collective and family, and checking in with Spirit. Look, see, consistently showing up for each other. You'd be surprised the connections you make over my path of consistently practicing certain things and showing up and connecting. And it's ergonomic, it's organic, it's real. It was never for the money. It's never to have a hustle. It's none of that. I could only go back. So crazy. I was only 1 year into my apprenticeship with my teacher in 2015. This would have been a decade ago. 12 years ago, I had really just, quote unquote, left not just religion, but a terrible relation, very abusive child. 12 years ago, to say I, quote unquote, woke up, honey, that's only the tip of the iceberg. But the point is to now fast forward and say, whoa, you're going to tell me I'm going to be where? Doing what? Yeah, crazy. Beautiful. Okay, Spirit. What do we got? Here we go. All right, wow. Friend, when I tell you I have never pulled this card, it makes me think of how we keep saying 999. And this whole year we've been talking about, teaching about the energy of 9 and the triplicity of the 9. It always returns to itself. Look, bravery on the bottom of the deck. 717, I'm seeing 777. Maybe that's a confirmation for someone. Evil eye, Nazar. This makes me think of your third eye, but also in connection with your crown. What does it say? Bravery. Wow, that makes me think of the Aries full moon we're going to come to. Is it Sunday, Monday? Okay. Infinity. I'm hearing Buzz Lightyear. To infinity and beyond. Oh, why does that give me feels? You know, in the end, and they're going back through everything. Oh, it's the same grief. It's the same emotion of, well, oh, y'all, I'm sorry. It gives that moment when, like, you know, they go to the little girl and the toys are in the grass and they're like, well, what do we do now? You know? Well, you'll just show up like you always have and it'll be a new adventure, right? Excuse me. You're holding the key. Limitless doors are about to open. Bask in the infinite potential that is shining down upon you. Balance is restored, not balance coming through again, okay? Balance is restored, consciousness open, inspiration peaked. Get ready for something truly transcendent. How beautiful. An intense cosmic shift may be upon you, a sense of calm, of everything clicking into place, the continuation of life and energy, a deep connection to the spiritual world. There is no reversal cautionary energy for this card. It's only this, because you can't reverse the lemniscate. You can't reverse that. It makes me think of an Ouroboros. I always say that so wrong. I am so sorry. I fully trust in my limitless power. I fully trust in my limitless power. I fully trust in my limitless power. Friends, you know I'm about to write that down in my journal today too. How beautiful. Thank you so much, Spirit and Team, ancestors, both galactic and earthbound. Thank you to the energy just for affirming beautiful messages back to us today. All right, you guys, enjoy your Monday. Okay, take good care of yourself out there, and I look forward to checking in with you soon, all right? Love you. Bye.